Hello, spiritual seekers. It's Sid here, your spiritual muse, Crystals of Quartz on Instagram. And I'm here today to talk to you about our Mars retrograde in Aries, which begins on September the 9th and it goes until November 14th. So let's break it down in an easy way. If you've never heard of a retrograde, you don't know what Mars is, you don't know what Aries is, hopefully you know what Mars is, you know of our planetary system. So what is Mars all about astrologically? Mars is about initiating, acting, and asserting based on our desires, right? It's kind of the warrior planet. They fight for what they want, right? Then Aries, so Mars is going into retrograde in the sign of Aries. So that is the first sign. It's about independence and self-awareness, right? Now, this is an interesting place for Mars to go retrograde because Aries is ruled by Mars. So it's in its home planet, Aries, or the planet is in its home sign, I guess I should say. So this is, kind of a very interesting place for it to go retrograde because it's right at home with itself. It's really honing in on these Mars, Aries type fiery issues. And then we also have the retrograde. Now, what is a retrograde? Don't know what a retrograde is? That's okay, I'm going to tell you. So a retrograde is when the planet appears to change direction, and you could call that sort of a change in perspective. So it's only appearing to change direction, so it's going to change merely our perspective on things, right? And that's going to be sort of a retiring and internal energy. So these retrogrades, they cause us to slow down, take stock of things, and just to kind of really shift directions, right? So there's a shift that's happening. So whereas Mars and Aries are normally about action and doing things, this is going to be a time where we really want to focus on slowing down, right? Slow down. Thinking before we act. Paying attention to things that come up, especially at this time, or things that have been repeating in our lives otherwise. You may want to acknowledge if you have any anger or rage issues. This is going to be a time when things like that might possibly come up. And it's going to be a really great time to rediscover yourself, rediscovering what you desire, who you are, having this sense of independence. If you've been very dependent, you may find a new sense of independence and self-awareness. So being aware of who we are, what we want, and figuring out how we can actualize that in our lives and create that, right? But during this time, you don't really want to be initiating things, acting on things, or asserting yourself. You want to be really planning things out, ideally. So it's a time when you want to kind of step back, and instead of acting too much, you want to think about the way that you want things to be. You want to visualize. It's a great time to meditate. It's a great time to just figure out what it is that you want, who you are, and how you can create that in the world, right? Because the world needs your unique sense of you, right? Your unique sense of you. And what is that, right? This is a time when you want to be sitting down and meditating on who you are and what you want in the world and how that's going to come together. And that's about it. I want to keep it short. I want to keep it sweet. I want to keep that important point in there for you guys. So be ready for that self-actualization, figuring out who you are and how you can align with who you are, right? You may feel like a little bit of shadow work, figuring out how you are not living to your true self. But it's a time when it's really powerful for you to figure all of that out. So I encourage you to sit down with yourself, figure out what it is that you are expressing and what it is that you are not expressing. And yeah, enjoy this Mars retrograde in Aries. It's actually, I think, going to be very, very fabulous for a lot of people. It can be transformative in a lot of ways, right? One way or another. And let me know how you guys are feeling so far because we're already in the shadow period, right? And then there's also the shadow period after. But let me know how you've been feeling for the last few days. I'm posting this 2 days before we go into our Mars retrograde. So let me know how you're feeling already if you see this beforehand. If you happen to listen to this video during the Mars retrograde after September 9th, let me know how it's going so far. I would love to hear how the energy is working with you. Maybe look into where Mars is in your chart. Maybe you have a Mars in Aries. Maybe it's going to really, really affect you. I don't know, right? If you're interested in any type of astrological reading, I can look into your chart for you. I can tell you where Mars is in your chart, and we can figure out what exactly this is going to be like for you. I'm also happy to do a full chart reading for you, or any other type of reading you'd like, maybe even a tarot card reading. It's definitely a good time to do some introspection and any retrograde, but specifically this one, because it's better to sit back than to act at this point in time. So I hope that this video finds you well, and I will be talking to you soon. From Marceline and me, we hope you have a beautiful Mars retrograde. Namaste.